And happy Monday, everybody. And welcome to the Cabin Fever Podcast. It's Brent Bailey. It is a beautiful day here in Palm Springs, California, as we're coming to you from my father-in-law's house out in the courtyard. You can probably see behind me the reflection of this beautiful courtyard that we're coming to you at. I was out on the lake on the backside of the property here today watching my boys fish this morning. Preston caught a bass that was a good 9 to 10 inch bass, good size, and I think that's the second time he's caught that guy because it looked just like the one that they had on the hook the other day. Jody and I, and there she comes right there, we have been having a real restful vacation after moving. Oh my gosh, that was like,
you can't say what it was like.
Oh yes, I know. It's what I'll say it this way: it's what we as the ministers preach against. That's what it was like.
Yes, exactly.
Moving.
We as ministers are preaching to save people's lives.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, it's been a really restful vacation. We're heading back to Florida tomorrow, and but anyway, we've been able to bring the Cabin Fever podcast to you remotely. In spite of all of the technical glitches, Luke's done a masterful job there in the studio, navigating the first time waters like this where we've actually had to kind of do things we've never done before, because usually I'm the one sitting in the studio when we're out on the road, but this way we tried it this way and it's worked great. He's done a great job. Yes. So he's joining us there in the studio. Luke, you hopefully you're having a good day today.
I am. I'm having a great day.
On this Monday.
Thank you.
So, with that being said, let's get started with the show today. All right, so what's going on in the world today?
Well, today, we were just talking about it, National Lazy Day.
Whoa, it's perfect.
We've had a National Lazy Day.
It's like it should be. It's like they knew that we were going to be on vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
National Lazy Day is a great day.
Yes.
What are we supposed to do today according to that?
According to this, I think just be lazy.
Just be lazy?
I mean,
so for all you people out there,
sit back, relax, kick back.
On the grind today, go ahead and wrap that up and just be lazy today.
Yeah.
And if your boss says anything, just tell them that hey, today is National Lazy Day.
Yeah, we better not encourage people not to go.
That's true. All the bosses in the country are mad today. So, all right, moving on. What else is going on today?
National S'mores Day.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
We love the
See, it's like it really is. It's almost like these days are for our vacation.
Yeah, and we're going to try to do that tonight.
Are we? All right. So National S'mores Day. Get you some graham crackers and some chocolate, marshmallows. Now we discovered something while we were in Kentucky over the 4th of July, the family reunion there, and while we were there, we discovered somebody had posted on Facebook or something how to make s'mores if you don't want to do it by the fire.
Right.
You can do it by like in the oven.
Yeah.
So we took it and you can just look this up, but you line a cookie sheet with the graham crackers.
You put chocolate on top, the chocolate square. And then you actually put in the oven there for a couple of minutes on broil. And then you put in a jumbo marshmallow.
Big one.
And then you put it back in the oven, let it get a little bit brown like you like it. And then you take it out and put the other graham cracker on top and voila.
Let those cook for just another minute or two.
It's all done.
It is actually, I know it's hard to believe, but it's better doing them that way than it is doing it over the camp. I know it takes the fun out of roasting the marshmallows. Yeah. But if you're looking for quality over the experience,
it's good.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So I give that a pass. All right. So National S'mores Day, head on out there and make that happen.
Yeah. You want more?
Yeah. What else?
National Shapewear Day. Is Luke talking?
I'm not going to comment.
National
I'm
what?
not going to comment.
National
I may or may not be a regular wearer of national shapewears. Not just national, just shapewears in general.
In general, right.
I'm not going to say where I learned it from. My good friend Dave Martin. there's Spanx and cocoons and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yes, there's people that wear them.
That's right.
Don't let
There's a
people
lot
tell
of
you
folks
they
that
don't.
do, and there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Very
No.
popular.
I got mine on right now.
Very popular.
It feels like a. What were you going to say?
I said it's very popular.
Very popular, yeah. Yeah, this is. I have mine on right now, and it feels like a little hug
It does.
all day long.
Aww.
You're just getting hugged all day long.
All day.
So those of you who have like self-esteem issues or you're this helps with that because it makes you feel better about yourself. And but it also gives you the affirmation of somebody hugging you all day long.
I love the commercials on Facebook where the ladies are standing on the side and they're shown in a dress that shows everything. And then they go and they shoot to, a scene where they're putting on the shapewear, and it's like all of a sudden everything's
perfect
smooth and flat,
in shape, in the place it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
they do work. They do work. I think on Seinfeld they called them the man's ear.
Yes,
yeah.
I think they did.
So anyway, those of you who need it, go and grab one of those National Shapewear Days today. What else is happening?
National Connecticut Day. We have some friends.
Oh, that's right.
Connecticut.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We found out that all the states have their own national day.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're just one day a week, or
I don't know because it hasn't been
because
every
we
day,
haven't hit it every day. So for those of
sense.
you who are in Connecticut, man, happy Connecticut Day.
Yes.
Enjoy your day today. Celebrate your state. They had one of the first quarters when they came out with the state quarters.
Yeah.
Impressive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says National Connecticut. How do you celebrate it? Well, you can obviously, if you live up in that part of the country, you can explore Connecticut, but then you can also use a hashtag National Connecticut Day on social media.
Do you know one of the what's Connecticut famous for? I mean, obviously it's one of the colonial Revolutionary War areas, but that's the home of the World Wrestling Federation.
It really is. Okay, yeah, that's
I'm sorry that I know that, but they're headquartered there in Connecticut. And so
we've had wrestlers on the show.
We have Mark Marrow. We're trying to work on Diamond Dallas Page right now to get him on. Nikita Koloff has been on the program, and so yeah. I don't know what that has to do with Connecticut. Oh, the WWF.
Yeah.
Happy Connecticut Day. All right. Okay. Some things just that we've been talking about here while we've been on vacation. Besides lots of rest, I want to say thanks to Brian and Jenny Stavali. They stepped in Friday. Our guests Keith and Mary couldn't be with us, and so that was a really on the spot thing where they stepped in and we were able to have a great program. But thanks to them for hosting us and letting us stay at their house. And then we came out to the desert and have stayed at Bob and Sharon's house, your mom and stepdad, and we have just had a wonderful time here. We went out to a great dinner last night at Enzo's, and I hadn't had pasta for a while.
I know.
But it was delicious. It was so good. So we had a great time with that. So I'd like to address something real quick before I bring my guest out. One of the things that we try and do is diversify what platforms we're on. And you've heard me talk about this a little bit. We are on other things besides just the Facebook Live. We're on also on right now on the live stream. We're on Periscope, YouTube, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire on the live stream right now. All of those. So you go, how do I get one of those? Well, if you have an Apple TV that has the App Store on it, it's only certain models that do, you can download the Direction Ministries app from Apple TV. You can also do the same thing on a Roku or on an Amazon Fire Stick. Or if you have an Amazon Fire TV, you can download our app from there, and then you can watch all of our shows anytime you want as a playback. But then you can also see other things that we post, from our church and some other things like that. Those are all free. Doesn't cost anything to get you hooked up on one of those. But then also on the Facebook, if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can just go to the Facebook page, click the follow button. All of the shows are listed on there as well. On YouTube, now this is the one we're really trying to build up. We need to get the followers built up on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, go to the Cabin Fever podcast. It's our little logo of the green forest with the little cabin in front of it. Go and follow us on that. You can follow along. All of the shows are archived on there, and you can relive any of those as well. Now, outside of the video stuff, we are also on just about every major podcasting audio source out there. Apple, Google, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Pandora. What's the other one? That's like Pandora. It's another audio service like that. I always get Pandora and the other one confused. But anyway, we're on just about every major podcasting service out there, so you can subscribe to us on that. And every time a new one gets uploaded, you get a little ding on your phone and let you know about that. We're so grateful that you have been so good to us. We weren't expecting this to take off, and really we're trying to play catch up on a lot of things. We weren't expecting this podcast to become as much supported by you as it has been. And so we want to say thank you and continue following and continuing downloading. All right. Thank you, babe. Have a great show from where you're perched at. I want to welcome our guest today. Today, I had the pleasure of meeting this wonderful speaker at my good friend Dave Martin's Ultimate Life Conference. And in the room at that conference was some really high-powered speakers. And our guest today really was a high watermark for me as a participant. I was there helping to host and MC and those kind of things. But when I sat and listened to the things that was coming out of her mouth, I was really blown away because it was so practical and so awesome. And I was listening and I would go, duh, I should know that already. She has such a wonderful way of communicating things that are so impactful, but in such a way that you're like, yes, that I can see right where that applies to me in my life today. From San Diego, California, please welcome to the program, Amy K. Hutchens. Amy, wow, so glad to have you on the program today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to see your faces and hear your voice again.
It's been a while, but I'm so glad that we were able to make this connection. And I've been following you and part of Get Your Newsletter and everything ever since we met at Dave's conference. And the things that you're saying are just amazing. First of all, before we get into the stuff, how has COVID been treating you since all this started?
Thank you for asking. That's super thoughtful. We've actually had the full spectrum. So and I'm sure people can relate, we have had elderly parents that we are having to help grocery shop and support. We've had teenagers in the house that are frustrated. Our most unfortunate is that Scott lost a first cousin who was an ER doctor in New York City. So we've actually had a tragic loss. Mm-hmm. And then I've got girlfriends with husbands on ventilators. And then I've got other friends that are like, oh my gosh, I didn't ask for this, but this is like my best business year yet. So we just have this huge spectrum of experiences.
Wow. And that is certainly the gambit. First of all, our condolence to you for that. I know that so many people have had just so many crazy experiences, but I know that you're big on magic phrases. And during a time like that, those are things that really people need to know. What are magic phrases in people's lives?
It's so fun. I do. And I think that without sounding like a Pollyanna, I'm just a realistic, optimistic person, as I think that how we get through this is by leading with compassion and leading with empathy and leading as a servant leader. And just really the way that Scott and I have stepped up every day is to kind of, start the day with, who are we here to serve today? How can we make other people successful? And so if you've ever taken my sales training, and Brett, you probably remember from the conference that we did with Dave, I'm not a fan of scripting. Like, I'm not a fan of writing it all out, because you become robotic and then you stop listening. But
so good.
A brilliant back pocket one-liner can serve you really well. And so I love these magical phrases, and I've been sharing a lot right now because we are weary. And there are a lot of tough conversations right now. And so one of my favorite is about giving people control. And so I've been doing a lot with the phrase, would you be willing to? And so if I said to you, Brent, would you be willing to? And then what I'm saying is I want you to say yes of your own accord. I want you to feel like you've got power and choice right now. And so, people are listening. They're like, well, Amy Kay, what if they said, no, I would not be willing to? Then you're like, well, then what would you be willing to? But this works so beautifully at home and at work. So like with your boys, if you're trying to, harness them up and get them to do some chores, instead of being like, you need to take out the trash and you need to do this, it's kind of like, hey, would you be willing to set the table? Or would you be willing to clear dishes afterwards? So it's kind of like, you're not getting out of your chores, but I'm going to let you have some feelings of control and choice.
Oh my goodness, that is, wow. I never even put it in perspective of parenting before. That's brilliant. So my question next is what do you do if they say no?
Well, so then you come back and say, all right, well, then what are you willing to do? Like, are you willing to then take out the trash tomorrow? Or are you willing to clean up, the fishing gear when you get home? So what you're doing them is you're giving them guided choices, but you're also letting them feel like, oh, I can say yes to this. I can have some buy-in and engagement. In other words, my voice matters. And that's another thing that I've seen that's working really well right now, especially in turbulent times, is to use this magical phrase, how might we? So how might we says, hey, we're going to ideate together. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to co-create a better future, but your voice matters. So, how might we turn this around? How might we increase sales? How might we create an ideal vacation that everybody's excited about? So again, at home or at work, it's just telling the people around you that your voice matters. And it's like with Jody, you could easily say, hey, Jody, how might we make this work? Or Luke's doing all this incredible production on the podcast. Hey, Luke, how can we make this even better? Like, so you're just saying your voice matters.
Wow. And that's such a conflict of way a lot of old school people have been taught. I know that I've worked for great people who were very interested in my opinion, but then at the same time, other folks, it was, this is how it's going to be done. And, regardless of what you think, so my question is, how did you arrive at that, decision, or I don't know if that's the right word, but how did you arrive at that knowledge? How'd you come to know that gets more out of people?
By saying the wrong thing, Brent. I think that the way that I look at it is we were all given a voice box and it never came with instructions. So it's like, so I think on a more serious note, when I was a kid, I don't know about you, Brent, but when I was a kid, we had this phrase that sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And I was standing there like, but these words hurt. So I was like, so this is malarkey. And over time, what I've come to really realize, and I say this with absolute sincerity, where our greatest pain rests our greatest gift. And I really believe that. And so my greatest pain was not having a voice, not using my voice, not knowing how to speak up for myself or how to make a tough conversation get turned around and become even more profitable. And so I'm very candid when I tell people how I got to be a master communicator was a very painful journey, but I so believe in what I do because our lives are happening one conversation at a time. I mean, I really believe that. Our lives are happening one conversation at a time, and the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your conversations. And so for those that are right now that are leading others, those that are either on an entrepreneurial path or you've volunteered or you're leading a group at the church, I really want you to think about this. The life that you want, it's on the other side of a tough conversation. And whether that's drawing a boundary, speaking up for yourself, healing a wounded relationship, having a new idea in your business, getting frustrated, all of these things are human. But the life that you want is on the other side of that tough conversation.
Now, I know that brings up in so many people's minds anxiety of, oh my gosh, I've been avoiding that conversation forever.
Yeah.
How do you start to really, I don't know, get the gumption or the the momentum built up to have those conversations?
It's hard. I mean, one of the things that drives me crazy about motivational speakers, and yes, I am one, is that, we stand up on stage like, oh, we have it all figured out. And we've got this, sage on stage with all this wise advice. And I think the first thing that I really want people to hear is that life is hard. Life is quirky. Life is messy. And so the more that we can practice using our voice, the closer we are to creating the life we actually desire.
Oh, say that again.
The more we honor the worth of our own voice, the closer we are to creating the life we desire.
Wow. That is extremely powerful. So many people I know, in my experience as a pastor, so many people have been told their whole life that their voice doesn't matter. Amy Kay, you're just absolutely speaking into so many people's lives right now that it's just really such a relevant message. After they accept the hardness of this transition, what's a good next step for them to start putting value on their voice?
One of the things that I think that we can all resonate with is that there are conversations that we avoid or that we attempt that, can make us really nervous. And that's like when the body makes your stomach churn, when your palms are sweating, when you feel like, oh, I've been called to the principal's office. It's like this icky feeling. That's when I want you to channel that energy. And I want you to say to yourself, this clearly matters to me. Like that's why I feel all these things. It's not bad. It's your mind and your body talking to say, oh, this matters to me. Like this is important. And so a lot of times when people show up to a conversation and they get teary-eyed or their throat constricts because they can't get it out, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize for caring. All I want you to say is, clearly this matters to me, or I need a moment, clearly this matters to me, or I need a moment, this is important to me. And I think that helps you reset of, okay, I'm here for a reason. My tears, my throat, my chest getting tight, my palms getting tingly, all of that is telling me that this is what I want, that the life that I'm trying to create, this conversation is going to help me get it.
Wow. That just rocks the paradigm for so many people that have been raised to think that it doesn't matter. And man, what great information! Now, in your book, Get It, do you talk more extensively about this very thing?
I do. In fact, in Get It, one of the things that I really wanted to do is so important to me is that I love a good theory. I love people who come and to give me all this incredible academic information. But in Get It, I have two things. I have relatable stories and I have super easy, practical, magical phrases. It's like if you feel like you're missing the words, like or you want to avoid saying something you regret, like this book helps you. And so one of the things that I'm often asked is like, how do you start a tough conversation? And I'll say by addressing that it's hard. Just by starting, hey, you know what? This conversation is hard for me. Or this conversation makes me uncomfortable and I still am committed to having it because you're important to me, or this topic is important to me, or you matter, or this topic matters. So you can say right from the get-go, hey, Brent, this is a really hard conversation for me to have. And I'm here. I'm committed to having it because this matters to me, but it's still hard. So let's commit to getting through it together. And that's just a beautiful way to start if you're crazy nervous about something.
Wow. I was reading some of the chapter adaptations that you had posted on LinkedIn. And the one thing that I thought was pretty cool was the one about when you go to start a conversation, most of us are playing a movie in our heads. And when you go to talk to somebody else, you're interrupting somebody else's movie. Can you just, I know we just got a little bit of time.
Can you just talk about that real quick? Let's just say I'm in this, horror flick and all these things are going on around me. My movie's a horror film, right? But then I interrupt your rom-com. Maybe you were feeling romantic. Maybe you had a comedy going on. Maybe you were doing your own thing. And I come in and I'm like, and you're like, whoa, I was just getting ready to sit down and have a romantic comedy moment. And so it's really important that if you're going to interrupt somebody else's movie, that you start with where they're at. So I give a classic business example in the book of, I come in and I say, Brent, I need that report. I'm meeting with the client tonight. I need your report. And you're all like, whoa, what's going on? If instead I start the conversation about you, like, hey, Brent, I know you're trying to close this deal with the client. I want to make sure that I get you the report with the data. Can I meet with you for 10 minutes? Now I'm making it more about you. And I'm starting with where you're at. And so I think that that's a real kind of just fundamental thing about communication, is to remember what I call the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity means this conversation is not just about me. In fact, I can guarantee you, Brent, right now that you and I are talking, and there are 1,000 conversations that are happening right now. The one that you and I are having, the one I'm having in my head, the one you're having in your head, and the one that every listener's having in his or her head. So, and Luke's got his own conversation going on. So I think that one of the things that's really important to remember is that when you show up to a conversation, it ain't about you.
So good. So good. So it's a combination of valuing your own voice and putting value where it needs to be, but understanding that isn't necessarily what it is for somebody else, and it's going to be hard for them to adjust as well.
Well, it is. And I think that, as you say it, it's that fine line of saying, okay, my voice matters and your voice matters. Every single one of us wants to be respected, accepted, and understood. Every single one of us wants a witness to our experience. And so when we show up and we come from a place of servant leadership, it's not that you don't have wants. It's not that you don't have your own needs. It's about saying, okay, let me connect with this person before I start making it about me. So yes, you're honoring your own voice, but you're saying, I'm going to connect with somebody before I start to pull the power play, before I start speaking up. And I want to be really clear. I don't want to be misquoted. You absolutely need to honor the worth and the power of your own voice. And the best way to do it is through connection.
So good. Our guest today is Amy K. Hutchens. And as you can tell, she is it's like drinking from a fire hose. I wish we had an hour-long show that we could just let her really go off on some things. But if you'd like to reach out and get more information, we're going to throw it up on the screen right now. You can go to her website, amyk.com. You can also follow her on all the social media platforms at Amy K. Hutchens on Twitter and Instagram. She's Amy K. Get It on Facebook. And she also has a YouTube channel, which I believe, I can't see it on my end, but I think it's on there. It's Amy K. Incorporated or something like that.
Inc. Yeah, Amy K. Inc.
Okay. Amy K. Inc. That's what it is. And so, man, I would encourage you to get on there. If you'd like to get a copy of her book, you can buy it on the website. I'm sure it's available.
Oh, I think we lost him. But what Brent was saying is that you can find her book on Amazon. And right now we have a slide up right now. That's what the book looks like. Amy, do you have any last words for us as we get out of here?
Yeah, I would just love to tell everybody really and truly that your voice matters. And I really want you to believe that your voice matters. And if you take one thing away from today, that if you just take a deep breath and you take it one conversation at a time, you got this. You really do.
All right. Thank you so much. You were great. I mean, on this end, I was blown away. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we appreciate you so much. And I'm sure.
Luke, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure Brent would have said that you have an open invitation to come back anytime you want, anytime you have something to promote. Just let us know, and we'd be happy to have you back.
Oh, awesome! Hugs, cyber safe hugs to everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Amy.
Take care.
Thank you. All right, guys. This is Luke. And I just want to let you guys know you can follow us on Spotify, Twitch, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We have all the lists up on the screen. And don't forget to check us out on Wednesday and Friday. We'll be back with a couple more guests. I don't know who exactly, but if you check our social media, I'm sure that you can see who's going to be up next. And thank you again. And don't forget to get outside and break the cabin fever.